In this video, I take you to 4 locations we visited on a 3-day road trip. All photos were taken with my Sony A7RIV and the Sony FE 200 to 600mm G lens. It was windy the entire trip, so it was challenging at times to take photos. I hope you enjoy it. The first location was Black Point Wildlife Drive on Merritt Island, Florida. This little blue heron was staring right at me. I love to take photos of birds looking right at me. I feel more connected to the bird when I know he sees me. Here's a tight shot of the same bird. The next 2 shots are of anhingas. They seem to always turn and look at you when you approach if they are facing the other direction. Either that or they're saying, "Here's my good side, go ahead and take your picture." There were lots of coots, and they usually are in long lines like this, kind of like a train. When they move, the entire line moves together, so you have a long line of coots 3 or 4 birds wide swimming along. A snowy egret sitting on a culvert used to control the water level. This is a tricolored heron sitting on top of a mangrove bush. And a common gallinule looking for his next meal. Here it is eating its next meal in the form of moss. An osprey in a mangrove bush. The weather was overcast all day, so the sky really looks awful, just a white blob. You take what nature gives you. Another snowy egret. These shots were taken at Parish Park at Titusville, which is at the east end of the Max Brewer Memorial Bridge going to Merritt Island. This willet was having a good stretch. Before looking for his next meal and eating it. This ruddy turnstone was doing the same thing. A black skimmer taking a nap. Miss Female Boat-tailed Grackle is quite a pretty young thing. I took several shots of her. In this shot, I was wondering what she was thinking about as she looked out over the Indian River, probably just thinking about where her next meal was coming from. We start the T.M. Goodwin photos with a tight shot of a great blue heron in the cattails. This Steranthus longtail was sipping nectar from this yellow flower, which I could not identify. Eye naturalists fail me. I hate it when that happens. This white peacock butterfly was a little beat up, but was still pretty. Butterflies have a tough life. When my wife saw this photo, she said, "Where's Waldo? Can you find the subject in this photo? It's right in the middle of the frame." Waldo in this case is a palm warbler. Now you see why I like a 61 megapixel camera, because you can zoom in a lot. Here's another palm warbler facing us this time. A pair of sandhill cranes flying by. What a beautiful sight they are. You start with a lily pad. Then comes the flower bud. Next comes the prize, the American white water lily. A white ibis on the wing. Followed by his buddy, the cattle egret. A lot of the cattle egret's buddies were nearby. I counted 46 altogether, but not all of them are in this photo. An eagle with his dinner in tow. What a beautiful bird. A great blue heron sitting on a stump watching the world go by. Another beautiful bird is this American kestrel. Followed by his buddy nearby, the merlin, which is a bird I don't see very often. I just thought this was a pretty shot with the great blue heron standing in the flowers with his top knot blowing in the wind. This is not a good shot, but I saw a belted kingfisher, one of the hardest birds to photograph. The last shot from T.M. Goodwin is this red-shouldered hawk looking over his shoulder. The first shot from Sebastian Inlet is this snowy egret sitting on a rock. If you follow Mark Smith, who is a great photographer by the way, you know he specializes in ospreys and even has a book for sale featuring many of his great photos of this bird. He lives in the Vero Beach area and the waters around Sebastian Inlet have lots of ospreys. I easily had a dozen or more ospreys in the sky at one time. Mark has lots of opportunity to photograph these birds. In the area of Florida where I live, you are lucky to see 3 or 4 ospreys at one time, and even that rarely happens. The trouble that day was the wind. I was on the south side of the inlet with a strong northeast wind. All of the ospreys and other birds all faced into the wind out over the water, so all I could shoot was the back of the birds. Nobody wants to see a butt shot. The fishing dock on the north side of the inlet, where I needed to be, was closed because of damage from the 2 hurricanes that just came through the area. I managed to get these 2 shots. The next time I visit the area, I hope for better conditions. This brown pelican flew by me facing the right direction for me to capture this shot. There were other shorebirds on the beach like this sanderling. The sanderling has a snack. These 2 shots are of laughing gulls. It's very difficult to identify shorebirds in Florida during the winter non-breeding season. Some of them totally change their appearance. I'm not an expert birder, so if I get one wrong, please forgive me. The next 2 shots are of a tern, but I can't be certain which one. I think either a sandwich tern or Forster's tern. You pick. I do know this is a ruddy turnstone. And here we have a willet. For the last photo, we have a group shot of pelicans. In the middle, we have a single American white pelican, and on either side, we have brown pelicans. Look how much bigger the white pelican is compared to the brown. The American white pelican can have a wingspan of 8 to 9.5 feet. The brown pelican averages about 6 to 6.5 feet. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please tap that thumbs up button. If you want to see more of my videos, please hit that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate that. It helps me with YouTube. If you want to be notified when I post a new video, hit that bell button. Thanks for watching and get out there and shoot. You can't become a better photographer sitting in your recliner watching that football game on TV.